All right, guys, here we go. A little review of yesterday. So, matrix multiplication was first defined explicitly in print by Cayley in 1858 in order to reflect the effect of composition of linear transformations. So, to determine if matrices can be multiplied together, you must know their dimensions. So, we talked about this yesterday. The columns of the first matrix must be the same number as the rows of the second matrix. The answer matrix dimensions will be the row of the first matrix and the column of the second matrix. Okay, so what that is saying, if you didn't notice it yesterday, you will always see them as rows by columns. And we'll do a second one just so I can. Rows by columns. Okay. So in the first matrix, this number must match this number. Okay. So match. And then your second, what it's saying in the answer matrix dimensions will be the row of the first matrix. So the answer the dimensions of your answer will be the rows of the first matrix and the columns of the second matrix. Okay? So if you didn't notice that from yesterday, you will see that today. So for example, can these be multiplied together? Well, let's identify what they are. So this first one here, I have one row, two row, one column, two column. So this is a 2 by 2. This one I have one row, two row, and then three columns. So this is a 2 by 3. Does the first one, does my columns match my rows of my second one? Yes, so they can be multiplied together. Okay, so let's look at this next one. I have two rows and three columns. So this is a 2 by 3. This one I have two rows and three columns. So this would be a 2 by 3. 3 and 2 match? Nope. So they cannot be multiplied together, okay? The answer of this one here, though, would be a 2 by 3. Okay? So let's look at what it's giving us below. It says if A matrix equals this, and B matrix equals this, and C equals this, find the following. So we need to first check out. Let's see what each dimension is of the matrix. So here I have two rows and two columns. So that's a 2 by 2. For B, I have one row, and I have two columns. For C, I have two rows and three columns. So if they want A by B, so A is a 2 by 2, and B is a 1 by 2. Does my columns and my rows match? So does 2 equal 1? Nope. So that is not possible. All right, now what if we did B times A? Okay, so they flipped it around for us. So B was a 1 by 2, and A is a 2 by 2. So now does 2 equal 2? Yes. So that works. Let's talk about what is your answer going to look like. So our answer will look like the row by the column. So it would look like a 1 by 2. So it's going to look like B. So now what we need to do is go ahead and multiply them. So I'm going to take the first row in B, so -1 and 1, and I'm going to multiply that by the first column. So if I took if I took my row in B, okay, because B is first, and multiplied it by my column in A, so I would do -1 times 1 plus 1 times -3. So -1 times -1 gives me a -1 plus 1 times -3, which gives me -3. Add those together, you get -4. Okay, now we need to do it again using the first row. So answer, if it's a 1 by 2, it's going to be pretty small. My first one is -4. Now I'm using my first row, second column. So -1 times 4 plus 1 times 5 gives me -4 here. 5 times 1 gives me 5. Add those together, so 5 minus 4 is going to give me 1. And there would be your answer. Now everything has been multiplied. Okay, so moving on to example 3. Okay, A times C. So A is a 2 by 2, and C is a 2 by 3. So column by row, does that match? 2 equal 2? Yes. So our answer is going to be a 2 by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply those out. Okay, if I took okay, now we need to multiply the first row by the first column. So 1 times 4 would give me 4 plus 4 times 1, which also gives me 4. 4 plus 4 equals 8. Okay, now I'm going to multiply the first row by the second column. So 1 times 2 plus 4 times 3. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 4 times 3, which is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. Now I'm doing the third column. And I'm going to do 1 times 0, which is 0. And then 4 times 5, which is 20. So that's the answer for the first row, third column. First row is done. Now we're moving on to our second row. So for second row, first column, -3 times 4 plus 5 times 1. -3 times 4 gives me -12. 5 times 1 gives me 5. So -12 plus 5 gives me a -7. Now I'm going to do the second row, second column. So -3 times 2, and then 5 times 3. -3 times 2 gives me a -6. 5 times 3 gives me 15. 15 minus 6, or -6 plus 15, will give me 9. Now I'm going to do the second row, third column. So -3 times 0 gives me 0. 5 times 5 will give me 25. 0 plus 25 will give me 25. And there is your answer. Okay. Moving on to example 4, it wants to do C by A. So we're doing C, which is a 2 by 3, and multiply that by A, which is a 2 by 2. Do 3 and 2 match? Nope. So it is not possible. All right. Example 5 and 6. Okay, so we still have the same matrix. This is a 2 by 2, 1 by 2, and a 2 by 3. Now it wants us to check out B and C. Okay, so B is a 1 by 2, and C is a 2 by 3. 2 equal 2? Yes, it does. So my answer is going to be a 1 by 3. So 1 row, 3 columns. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Starting with my first row, first column. So -1 times 4 plus 1 times 1. So -1 plus times 4 gives me a -4. 1 times 1 gives me 1. -4 plus 1 gives me -3. Now I'm doing same row, second column. So -1 times 2 plus 1 times 3. -1 times 2 gives me a -2. 1 times 3 gives me 3. -2 plus 3, or you can say 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1. Now last one, doing first row still, third column finally. -1 times 0 gives me 0. And 1 times 5. 1 times 5 is 5. And there you have it with your answer. Okay. Now, last one, example 6, CB. So let's see what C is. C is a 2 by 3, and B is a 1 by 2. Does 3 equal 1? I think not. So that is not possible, okay? Please make sure that you watch the video tomorrow, okay, about the calculator. And if you guys have any questions, make sure that you reach out. If not, have a great day.